Have you ever heard that in order to live an aligned or sovereign life, you first have to get rid of the life that you don't want to receive the life that you do want? Me too. And for a long time, it made sense, but it also felt like a bunch of words. But until my life became a living, breathing case study of this, I didn't fully understand that, or what it would look like in practice. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what this phase of life looks like after your old life has already dissolved. You've left your old home, you've left your old relationship, you've left your old job. All of those structures that you were building a life on have gone away. You've made it through the void, and now you're at literal rock bottom. And I don't mean emotional rock bottom, although maybe it is an emotional process. In some ways, it's been emotional for me. More than that, it's been very sobering, very serious, very adult. It's the part of this whole arc where everything has been stripped down and we're fully independent or sovereign from the systems we once relied on. I call this a structural era because this is the part where we're building the scaffolding of the house. It's not the fun part, it's not the glamorous part, and this phase is not talked about much. We talk about the letting go part, we talk about the receiving part, but we don't often talk about the building part. So I want to talk about my life as sort of an example of this, because I'm in it right now and I'm finally in a place where I'm feeling really good about where I am, and I want to share a little bit with you. So if you're going through something similar, I hope that this is useful information for you to apply to your own life in some way. This journey for me started quite a while ago. I want to say in like 2022 or 2023. I was still working a corporate job. I had been sort of climbing the ladder. I lost myself in the role and in that career path. And it brought out a very ugly side to myself. I had a fallout with a couple people who were not, in the grand scheme of things, the most positive influences on me anyway. And after that happened, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? I ended up booking a yoga retreat in Nicaragua. And I went there and I learned about all these people who built their lives around working at retreats and who left the corporate life behind. And I was so inspired and enamored by the idea of a life that was mine, that was novel, that was creative, that allowed the real me to come through. Because the truth is that my corporate life wasn't really me. And I was like, I could travel, I could do all the things I love and potentially make money and help people. And that was something that just filled me with inspiration. I left that trip. I planned to end my lease at the time I was living in Jersey City, continue working at the job that I had at the time, which very fortunately I was working remotely and I had the ability to travel quietly. And I went on to solo travel quite a bit and explore and figure out what the heck I was going to do and who I was. Now, again, at the time, I was still dependent on this job. If not that job, then another job. This was a not very sovereign life that I had, but it did allow me to explore what life could look like if it was really mine. Ultimately, I ended up deciding to move to San Diego, and this was where I planned to start a business of my own. I lived in San Diego for 2 years. It didn't go exactly as I expected. The business idea that I ultimately landed on was not at all what I had envisioned, but by the end of my time in San Diego, I had started this YouTube channel. Shortly after starting the YouTube channel, the job that I had been working at, which was a different job from the other one that I mentioned, was actively crumbling because my identity was aligning with the YouTube channel, or it was fully aligned with the YouTube channel, and I was expressing myself in a really authentic way. And unless you're really split in your identity and your behavior, like the opposite of what I talk about and stand for on this channel, that's really hard to do, to uphold a career and a position that's actively opposing who you are becoming and other work that you're doing that honors who you're becoming. There was an opportunity to leave the company on my terms in an empowering way. Really in a miraculous, synchronistic way, I was able to leave this job with a wad of cash in my hand, and just more opportunities kept affirming, leave the job, leave San Diego, just follow this path. And I did, of course I did. So I ended up moving back to the East Coast with my family, which had you told me that to even a year before this, or even 6 months before this, I would have laughed in your face, but everything aligned. It just made so much sense. Let me pause on the story. This is when everything started to dissolve. This is what I would call the dissolution phase, when The old life structures started crumbling, and that really kind of began with the job, because income is what funds the life that you're living. And once I actually fully left that entire field, that entire matrix, that's when things started to break down. You could say I was still dependent on the systems, just in this sort of transitional way. Anyway, cut to February, I left on a whim my parents' house to go to a work exchange that literally came out of nowhere. And again, it was just one of those things that just feels very karmic and like it was meant to happen, and like I just found myself here. And a lot of stuff went down initially. It was a really kind of dramatic start for me and the host. For whatever reason, I got here right before the solar eclipse in Aquarius, which just triggered my survival to the full extent. Navigating that with the host was it was a challenge. Now, it's been a month of being here, a little over a month, and things are finally settling. And I feel like I have actually finally entered this new era. So when I say that everything has fully been dissolved, I mean, I'm getting no support from systems that were holding me up before. My life has consolidated to its bare minimum. I mean, with expenses, with income, and everything that extends to, because again, really everything does build on whatever your income model is in our society. I've fully walked off the bridge. I'm now at the bottom. I would call it rock bottom, but again, for me, it's not emotional, it is structural, because there's nothing feeding me anymore. And now I'm standing here and I'm like, it's all on me. I remember seeing my spending every month in my banking app in like the thousands, and my income being like really proportionate to that. I didn't have more money at the time. I had the illusion of it. Right now, in this sort of builder phase, which I would honestly call like the beginning, like the real beginning. Like technically, again, began the journey a while ago, but it was more like beginning the journey starts with ending the old journey. It's almost like ending an old story. Now I'm actually beginning the new one. My income is in the low hundreds, but my expenses are also in the low hundreds. Everything's just very honest. But also at the same time, it's clear where I'm making sacrifices right now in order to build. It's very consolidated. Everything is very stripped down. I don't look at my bank account and think, I have enough money to go get dinner with friends. I also don't even have friends around. Like everything is quiet. It is serious. And it is sobering. This would be a devastating, probably traumatic chapter if I hadn't mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, truly let go of everything that I thought I needed. I truly surrendered to it. And I really was like, I need to say goodbye to this. All of these things that I thought I needed, because I saw the illusion. I saw that it was going to hold me back, that there was no real foundation to that life, that I would forever be reliant on those systems if I didn't say yes to going through this process. Obviously, this phase is just temporary, but it's a very real phase on this journey. It's truly like boot camp, and I don't know that every single person is going to have this exact same experience in their arc. Everyone's going to have their own flavor of it. It's also going to depend on your astrology, but on some level, everyone has to release what isn't serving them before the new life comes in. We talk so much in the spiritual world about receiving, and you have to be open, and you have to blah, blah, blah. And like 100%, yes, that's a huge part of it. But you also have to build the capacity and the foundation to hold the life that you are calling in and that you are receiving. If you haven't built the structure and the scaffolding, the actual pillars of the building you're trying to build, it's literally going to collapse. It's going to fall right off your shoulders. You're going to lose it in 10 seconds. And I've been that person. I've done that a million times with so many things in my life. It's so interesting to me in hindsight from where I'm standing now, because I can finally look back on previous chapters in my life and see exactly why certain things didn't happen the way that I thought I wanted them to. Things not working, like things just not clicking into place the way that I was like, why doesn't it work? Why does the universe hate me? Why is this so hard? It's because the foundation of my life wasn't the right foundation. It wasn't authentic. And because of that, I was deluded by my own desires. And now that I'm in this phase where nothing else is feeding me from the past, I am put in this position where, because I have literally no income coming in, it's like, it's go time. Like, it's on me to start monetizing my ideas and to start building the infrastructure of this future, of this life. I think we never actually really go for it in that way until we're truly at the bottom structurally. Because if I'm like subconsciously or unconsciously semi-reliant on these other systems, on my parents or whoever I think might be able to help me, you're not actually fully going to rely on yourself. You're not actually sovereign. And therefore, you're not actually going to build a sovereign life. So this is the chapter I'm in now. I don't know exactly what's coming, but I do know that I have been building. And I don't just mean that, again, in like an abstract way. I've been building frameworks. I've been really creating and using this part of myself that I always dreamed of using, but never felt safe to bring into the corporate world. It was never valued, this sort of more eccentric and innovative part of myself with all these really amazing, I think, if I may say so myself, ideas that I think can help people and change the way we look at things. And that's really rewarding. But of course, it's also scary. And looking in the fridge and being like, okay, food, you know, like survival is a real thing right now. If you are truly dedicated to building a life that is sovereign and free and authentic and aligned, this is a phase that on some level, every person has to go through. Again, it might not look exactly like mine. There's so many things that will influence what this phase looks like for you, but ultimately there's going to be a very deep consolidation builder era, which is kind of like, again, what I call like chapter 1. When you're at the bottom and you're actually building the scaffolding and you don't have much but willpower, purpose, and just discipline, maybe a little bit of drive as well. That's all you got. Nothing's coming in to feed you. You are on your own in building the systems to feed you. And it's a wild part of the journey that just doesn't get talked about enough. This whole entire channel is an archive, a living archive of this journey, of the journey of differentiation, leaving behind dependency-based systems and moving into a sovereign life. And we are just getting started, but the whole arc is here, archived for you. So definitely hit the subscribe button if that resonates with you and if you want to follow me on this journey. If you've also just entered a consolidation or rebuild era, but you need help identifying where your identity or your life structure is out of alignment and clarifying the next steps to rebuild it, I just opened 3 spots for March to work with me one-on-one in what I'm calling identity alignment sessions. I've dropped the link in the description box below, so definitely check it out if you're interested in learning more. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of this journey with me. I'm so grateful for this community, and I will talk to you very, very soon.